Good morning, travelers, and I want to wish everybody a happy Father's Day out there. Even if you are a single female and you're wearing, two hats, celebrate being the dad that you need to be. Because when you got kids, you got to be all things. So, and don't be down on yourself if you don't have a partner, which is very interesting because I laid this spread before I started recording, and it is quite interesting. Let me tell you the 9 cards. I'm just going to get straight into the spread. I had this whole spiel that I was going to give you guys before I laid the cards, but I actually just pulled the cards to see what was happening. We do have a full moon today. It is the second full moon in Sagittarius. Somebody said it was in Cancer. Somebody else said it was someplace. It's actually the second Sagittarian full moon. There's also a grand cross going on at the same time. And so like the Wheel of Fortune, this is all about balance, okay? And grand crosses are when it's 4 planets caught up in somewhat like of an opposition to each other. We have Gemini and Sagittarius because they sit opposite the wheel. And then we have the nodes of the moon, the destiny points, Virgo and Pisces. So wherever those Gemini and Sagittarius fall on your natal chart and Virgo and Pisces fall on your natal chart, what houses, this is the areas that are coming up for review. And so you're being asked to just maintain the balance. Look at the Grand Cross like a mobile over a baby's crib. You got those 4 points and then there's balance in the center. So that's kind of the energy. It's a tough energy. So try to remain as flexible as you can. Try not to make any quick decisions. Give it some time, some thought. Any major decisions that you need to make. And trust. So I'm going to tell you guys a story. What I have here. And this is quite interesting. It all centers around heartache. Okay. I have the 5 of Cups in the center. Regrets, loss, maybe clinging to things in the past, and being in a spot where you just need some emotional adjustment. And that's kind of how this spread is reading. It's about some emotional adjustment, but it's also, in looking at it, because I have beautiful cards on the outside. Beautiful cards on the outside. But it's also about recognizing something perhaps that you don't see, okay? The 9 cards are the 9 of Cups, 8 of Wands, 2 of Cups, 10 of Swords, 5 of Cups, the Empress, the Emperor, 8 of Cups, 4 of Wands, with the Magician underneath the deck, okay? So as I say, the 4 cardinal points, the 4 points of the grand square, kind of just brought themselves out in this spread. So I'm going to tell you a story. And what this story is it is about 2 people, because this is a couple. It is about 2 people who perhaps were separate. Maybe they didn't know each other. Maybe they do know each other. But each one had a wish sent out into the universe. This 9 of Cups here. Of finding a life partner. This 2 of Cups here. And it looks like if this hasn't happened for you, you might be in luck, okay? Because it's going to kind of give you an insight, a window into how you may need to handle this situation if it hasn't happened for you already. But because this is in the past row, I'm going to say this is for the people that this has already occurred. You put that wish out into the universe. Here it is. See? Okay, there it is. And this is what you were wishing for. All right? And for some of you, it has already happened, and it happened quite quickly, quite suddenly. All right. That's also known as the arrows of love. Maybe you met this person while you were traveling. Maybe this person is at a distance. But it happened quite suddenly. But then I have this row here, the Ten of Swords, the Five of Cups. So what this says to me is that this either fell through, okay, or there was a timeout. The Ten of Swords is, I think these two people perhaps may feel betrayed in some way, shape, or form, okay? Definitely there are some negative thoughts. Perhaps there have been, arguments said or words said that now you wish that you could take back. And so they're no longer together. This is the current. Nevertheless, for the male or the person who takes the male role in the relationship, you have already met your empress. And for the female and or the female or the person who takes the female role in the relationship, you have already met your emperor. In other words, you've met your match. But as we can see down the center, we have this Five of Cups and this Eight of Cups. And these three cards alone pretty much tell the whole story. This is more than likely two people who, although they've met each other and they pretty much know that they've met their match, it all centers around past relationships, all right? Things that have occurred in the past. It speaks of hanging on to things that no longer serve you. And maybe this is why you feel betrayed, like maybe it's the same situation all over again. Or maybe that's why words were said that you wish now that you could take back because they were coming from a place of fear or anger or mistrust from the past. And I say that because this guy is stabbed in the back. This guy is looking towards that, towards his past, what has happened to him in the past, the disappointment and the regret and the sorrow that he has encountered. So has she. And then we have another figure with their back to us, okay? Walking away. This is not just walking away from the situation, but this is really what should be happening, is walking away from the past in the sense that that stuff no longer serves you, okay? Now, this, I think this female or the person who's in the female perhaps has, in some respect, maybe come to terms, but nevertheless, she still has some things from her past, okay? She still has some things from her past that she is dealing with as well. But these Two of Cups sit closer to her than they do the male. So I'm going to make the assumption that she knows exactly what's happening. And because she sits in the future row, she is either waiting or she is perhaps at a point where she's like, well, if I can't have that with this person, then I'm going to have to make some adjustments and still try to reach what my wish is. That's the House card. Now, what this is saying to me here is that this Emperor is perhaps undergoing the process of leaving things in the past, but he's also coming to the place of the House card. What overrides this entire spread is the Magician. And the Magician is all about focusing your will and your intentions with your actions, because only then can you create magic. You can't just dream up an illusion and expect that it's going to just work perfectly. You have to work through it. You have to practice it. You have to practice it with intention until you can perfect it. Now, another message that I'm getting is that there's been a lot of energy focused in on this because you were literally able to manifest up this person. Literally. It's like you were asked, maybe some of you weren't even conscious that you were asking for it. But subconsciously, you sent that wish out into the universe, and he answered. The universe answered. In this respect, it kind of reads like maybe this guy had expectations that didn't quite fit the bill. Like maybe his wish came, but it didn't quite match what it was that he had in his mind's eye. Okay? Maybe there were some imperfections in the person or some flaws in the person or, you know, something. But nevertheless, he feels betrayed by that. When really it's not the person that he should be feeling betrayed by. It is looking at the wish that has been granted to you and accepting it for what it is, because it's still a blessing in disguise. The Two of Cups in disguise. It's a blessing. I think this person realizes that it's a blessing and may be willing to accept whatever. Sometimes you have to love people because of their flaws, not in spite of their flaws. Well, you know, and I hope that makes sense. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes you have to love people because of their flaws, not in spite of their flaws, okay? And really, this line here does speak to, we have Two of Cups here, that this person is not recognizing what has just happened, really. Because this person, the Empress, is kind, she's gentle, she's loving, she's nurturing, she's accepting. You know, in her negative, she might be a little bit smothering and controlling, okay, whatever. But we all have the negative and shadow side. But for the most part, she represents, not only does she represent those qualities of being kind and nurturing and generous, open and receptive, there is a lot of abundance attached to this person. And abundance can come in many forms. What is most interesting to me is that I have these, all three of these cards represent Venus in different aspects. This represents Venus in Cancer between June 21st and July 1st. This could also represent a trip. So maybe there could be a reconciliation coming. I don't know. I'm going to pull a few Sibillas to see. This represents Venus herself. And this represents Venus in Aries. This goes back to April 11th to the 20th. So because this is in the future column, the last card out, maybe if there's a reconciliation, it may occur around 2017 of next year. Okay, we shall see. But this line really reads about a marriage. And maybe this Eight of Cups has come in here between this Emperor and this house, because it's going to take that long for the person to actually see what it is that they have before them. Hold on. I want to see what the 2 8s. I have 2 8s smack in the center of the spread. Will you guys go sit down? It's too early. Let's see what the 2/8s tell us. I know this, but I just can't pull it up right now. And because this is so obviously a love reading, okay, I'm just going to give you I'm going to give you both. The first interpretation is the 2/8s. You will receive news that affects the relationship. That could be what this is all about. That could be what that is all about. It's kind of working on this spread. These cards are talking on multiple levels. It could be the next Venus transit. And I do believe Venus is going into Cancer here a couple of days after this full moon. Even though Venus is not in her ruling house in Cancer, the energies blend together quite nicely. There's still some tension there. Actually, the moon, I think, is the house of Cancer because it represents our emotions and our nurturing capacity and ability, our ability to love and be loved, to be receptive. The other interpretation of the 2/8s says that there may be a slight concern in regards to a new relationship or partnership. And as I was saying, these cards speak to fear. Fear and the memory of past disappointments. Hold on, my friend's calling. Hey, I thought you were live streaming. Oh, I'm in the middle of recording a video. Hold on. No, hold on. I'll check for you. I'll use the device. Okay. Check your, go to your, hold on. Go to your microphone. Oh, crap. And click on it, and maybe you can change the configuration settings. Maybe that's no, but sometimes it'll just do funky things on its own. You know, you just have to kind of. Okay, hold on. I'm going to your channel. Okay. Okay, and here it is. June 19th. I don't even see you on there. Let me go to your channel. Bye. As if you didn't know that was Christelle Martinet, people. And that was no accident that she called me at that time. That's lovely. I hope she can get her things. And I hate that I'm not able to assist her with her technical issues right now. But anyway, I forgot where I was. Oh, yeah. I don't even remember where I was. So what I'm going to do, a slight concern regarding relationship. That's where I was. And basically what this says is that I think both of these people came together, and when they came together, it activated a bunch of fears and repressed memories about past relationships. You know, maybe she's had bad relationships. Maybe he's had, where they have invested a whole bunch of themselves and time and energy and their heart into it, and it didn't work out. And sometimes it happens like that. But what I think is that you're being given a second chance. So I want to look at the card that stands out to me the most in this is this 8 of Cups. Okay. It has a different energy to it, like it's a reversal, in which case if it's like this could possibly mean a reconciliation after some time apart. Now, as we know, the timing for this is April 11th through the 20th. Okay. And if that is truly what the cards are saying, then you're being asked to really, really work and focus your intentions with your will, okay? Because it appears that something lovely is coming. Let's see. Now, interesting cards on this Eight of Cups. Melancholia, Falsità, and the Belvedere. Now let me see what these cards are trying to tell us. I'm getting two messages here. One is that the person is not looking for someone else, if that's what you think. The Falsità with the Belvedere. And perhaps this is melancholia. This is the sadness. Someone thinks that someone is looking for someone else, but it's a false belief. And that really they should try to look on the bright side of things because they're being sad for no reason. I want to look at this entire row here. 3 cards for the whole row. Now that these 3 cards have come out, it gives me a third meaning for these. So this could play out in many ways, people. But yet, this Falsità is what's throwing me. Let me give you these 3 cards here, and then I'll come back to that. Superbia, Speranza, Giovane Fanciulla. Now, on the one hand, there is going to be something positive about maintaining your hope, because there is something new on the horizon, okay? But at the same time, now the Falsità is making some sense. It could be that this person has to move on with someone else for the time being. They have to go through that. As if the cards say, whatever it is that they're looking for, okay, they're not going to find it in that regard. Let's say, for instance, that this person is thinking that it's over, or that you think that it's over with this person. And so both of you try to, as I said at the very beginning of the script, so both of you decide, okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and move on. Okay, but maybe this is something you have to go through, because it'll put you to this place of really knowing what it is that you want, the Magician. And how are you going to bring that about? Okay? I know that may sound confusing, but those are the messages that I'm receiving. Now, I'm going to pull these cards up. This is a very, very... Before I do that, let's look at the Magician. Because in a way, it's almost saying that eventually you're going to be able to, again, reconjure up those things that you've been wanting all along. Again, emotional adjustment. This is just not about sex. It's about emotional adjustment, feelings, sensitivity, someone giving great thought to that and the other person waiting. Again, it kind of speaks to the same thing. So just know, just like this 10 of Swords, it is always darkest before the dawn, and to maintain your hope and your faith. Now, I'm going to do a quick um, 7-card Cartomantic spread with the, what do you call it? That guy? Casanova. That's who it is. And then if these spreads did not answer the question that you had, I'm going to pull one angel answer card. And maybe that will give you some indication of what you need to know. A clue, a hint, something. All right, so we're going to do a 7-card. I was worried that that moon bath wasn't going to help my cards. I put them out last night. We have a full moon occurring. I think it's actually going to start waning. Full moon culminated around 2 o'clock this morning on the 20th, I believe. And I always like to put mine out a day before. Oh, wow. I have cards that are... Let's just see how this plays out. That's interesting. This is a quick 7-card spread, the Gate of Love. Let's see if Casanova can give us a little bit more insight. Again, the Empress has come out. Let's see. King of Wands. Not the Emperor, but fire, passion. The Knight of Wands. Fighting spirit. The 7 of Wands. Now that's a lot of fire. And there's a lot of passion surrounding this woman, this thing. A lot. The 9 of Coins, which is kind of like that 10 of Swords, the betrayal, the way out. The 2 of Coins, hedonism, party, pleasure. Like I said, maybe the two are going to have to go their separate ways before they can actually understand what is happening for them. The Fool with the 6 of Swords. Now I keep getting this theme around travel. Okay, if not travel, really travel, then it is just movement. Mars will be going retrograde. I mean, will be coming out of retrograde phase on the 29th. So this is movement. Now, movement in what way, in what shape, how, what form? Is it movement under the surface? Is it mental? Because this card can also be about traveling in the mind. Maybe that relates to that magician, being able to create your own reality simply with your thoughts. This 7 of Wands speaks to someone having a battle. The 7s are always outside influences that come in. Well, not outside influences, but internal influences that create some havoc. This Knight of Wands is about messages. This guy's waiting on a message to come, but he's also ready to knock somebody's lights out. Okay, that's the meaning of the card. You know, he's not a... Let me make sure, because the Knight speaks to diplomacy. But I believe that this Knight of Wands in the actually, he speaks to the guard, the defense of others, loyalty, courage, and discretion. So this is a jovial, happy individual behind a very austere front. So this may give you some clue as to the person's personality. Maybe really they are very kind and loving. You know, can come to the defense of others, very brave in their own way. okay? But right now they may seem to be very austere and difficult to approach or whatever. But really, I think yet and still the message is the same, that this is something that's coming from within. That's what those sevens say. And so maybe the person has to go outside or away, as if they're going away from themselves to actually find themselves. But I do have this Empress who so this is a very, with all the fire around, this is a very, very fertile time. Now this could be speaking to also someone's financial or economic situations, because I have the two coins here with the Empress, who still represents earth and fertility and abundance, okay, with the Wands cards around it. But the person is giving some thought to something. So either they're trying to run away from something, and I don't think that they're trying to run away from romance, not per se, but maybe they're trying to run away from themselves or run away from a situation that, and maybe they're using their work in order to do that. Maybe they're throwing themselves into their work. But it still kind of reads like there's some romance, some love issue caught up in this. We have the Fool. Now in this deck, the Fool can be, let me read. It's very, very different from Madness, Eccentricity, the Mask, someone having a different perception, lack of logic, unconventionality, and or neglect of the consequences. Okay, so this card really speaks to, you're going to have a chance to, in a sense, go on an adventure. Okay, you're going to have to keep your wits about you. Okay, but there's something different that has arrived for you, and you're being asked to choose differently this time. Let's look at, I'm going to look at just one card. I'm going to look at that Fool, and I'm going to look at the 7. Okay, and then I'm going to pull one Angel Answers card by Doreen Virtue. I actually want to look at that 2 of Coins. Again, there's this theme somewhat of betrayal. But is this betrayal of, again, back of self? Is it betrayals based upon past? Is this a current betrayal? You see, this is the lock. This is the lock. And this is the way out. Which is odd, because this card is called the Way Out. And it's almost saying you're going to have to face the past, the issues. You cannot get away from them. Again, this theme of a trip or movement. The Morte coming in as the first card. This lets me know that something ended, but now it is a new beginning. This is either going to be a trip for business, okay, or literally the arrival of someone. And again, we have the House card. The 4 Wands is the House card in this deck. The theme is playing out. Let's look at the Fool card. The story is kind of repeating itself even here. Again, look at this. Superbia, Costanza, Sacerdote. Now this could either be saying, remember it says that what a different perception or neglect of the consequences, eccentricity, the mask, or a different perception. Now this could either be someone is deciding to stay single. Costanza, sacerdote. This is the choice that they're making. But this card also can represent arrogance and haughtiness. Okay. But it can also say that there is a success, that this person is again, it goes back to what the person is not with anybody else. Two meanings. The person is still not with anyone else. Okay. Or the person is going to decide to stay single. Let's look. That's crazy. Again, now look. Same thing coming through here. In the past, someone was giving some thought. The Lamante female lover, I'm sorry, and the Dinari. But this person has moved away from that. The other interpretation is this person is thinking about that. This is too funky. And underneath, I got this thinking 10 of Swords again. Maybe this is speaking to, there's still some fear there. Now, that's quite complex, quite interesting. Now, if none of this answered any questions, because it kind of didn't answer any for me either, and I hope if any of you are experiencing this, I don't know what to tell you. Trust. Go over to the site and read my, give me a minute because I forgot to post it up last night before I went to bed. But I'm going to post up the new full moon article in Sagittarius, okay? And I want you to read that. It goes back to the Grand Cross. This really, because this full moon is this Grand Cross is running across that, the nodes, the true nodes, the nodes of destiny, Virgo, north node and south node of the moon. This really is a time to maintain your faith. Try to be positive. If you start feeling yourself becoming negative or having worry or doubt or fear, try to dispel that in any way that you can. I think that in this case, both of these people could use a little bit of luck in their lives. Really. So, a year from now. That card says a year from now. Now, I don't know what that means, but it means something. So that's what I have for you. I want to wish, again, everybody out there, single dads, you know, married dads, baby daddies, a happy Father's Day. For you single ladies out there that are trying to hold it down and wear both hats, I want to wish you a happy Father's Day too. All right, that's it, and namaste. Thank you for joining me. Now let me get back with Christelle Martinet. All right, bye.